Hey there guys, Desmond here and welcome to some tips, tricks and port forwarding walkthrough on the BT Smart Hub or BT Home Hub 6. Now we're going to start with port forwarding first, of course. The primary reason that someone at home is going to need to port forward their network is for VPN services to get into work. Or game servers such as Minecraft, which I'm going to demonstrate today, and there's numerous other things such as your work may use a special port for their their email server, and you need to set your port to accommodate for that on your email client such as Outlook. But anyway, we're going to go through the port forwarding for a Minecraft server today. So first of all, you're going to need to download the Minecraft server.jar. Make sure you've got Java, latest version of Java installed, and then run this command. After you've run the command, you need to accept the EULA, and once you've done that, the files will generate and you'll have a window like this, which is saying that the server has been opened, spawn's completed, and it's ready to go. Now this is in the folder and it contains all the files related with the server. This server will now be accessible from here, from my house. So if I click play on Minecraft right now, it's just downloading an update, but that's fine. Okay, it's just opening on the other screen. Bear with me. There we go. There we go. Yeah, wonderful. So, make this larger screen, click on multiplayer. Actually, before I do that, we want to turn the music off, which is cool. So, multiplayer, and then I've got some servers in here that aren't available for whatever reason. So, we'll change this to my server. And my address for my local computer, I know that, but if you don't, then I'll show you a way of finding out. But I know that my local IP address is 192.168.1.136. If I click done, there you are. Server with 1 MS ping, because that's connected. It's literally connecting to my computer internally. And as you can see, the Minecraft world is generating, and we're in Minecraft, which is awesome. So I'm going to disconnect, and obviously this is available. Now, what I want to do is see if my friends can access that server. So to do that, I need to find out what my IP address is, my external IP, so that they can join and play with me. So I'm going to type what is my IP. Forgive me for the space, it doesn't matter. So there's my public IP address, okay? So I'll copy that, and I'll add another server, and I'll type that IP in. Click done. Now again, this is going to show as positive for me because it's available on my network, because it's literally my computer, which also probably means that the IP might be available. But again, there is another way to test it. You give the IP address to your friends, and your friends are going to attempt to connect. If they can't connect, then obviously there's a slight issue. So there is also Minecraft server testing services, so you can go Minecraft server test connection, boop, and there's a server status query. You just type in your IP address and click on check. It's then going to see if it can see your server, which it can. It can see my server, so I presume my IP is already forwarded, which I didn't expect, but sure. So, how is my IP? Oh, I can see why my IP is forwarded. So my IP is currently forwarded because my computer is under what's called a DMZ. That means demilitarization zone. It means that all your ports on that particular device are open to no matter what, and as long as your firewall is set up on Windows to allow that port to be accessible, which normally happens when you start the server. It'll come up and say, do you want to allow this app through the firewall? The minute you click accept, the firewall opens those ports. Then if you've got DMZ, It's done. You haven't got to worry about it. However, if you haven't got DMZ, I'll show you how to port forward. So you first of all need to log into your home hub. Now you can do this by typing in the following IP address, which is 192.168.1.254. However, if you don't know what the IP address is, don't have the time to pause the video, learn it and try it, you can just type in home.hub, press enter, and this site can't be reached. Brilliant. Okay, not entirely sure why it's not allowing me to go to home.hub. No, it's broken. If that doesn't work, you can always bring up your file manager, and if you go to your network, it might come up with make it visible, which I can do. Make the network private, and you can see here it says BT Home Hub 6A. If you double click on that, it's also going to open the Home Hub for you. Now, once you're in the Home Hub, you're going to need to know your password for the admin section. This is on the card, the plastic pull-out tray on the side of your Home Hub, and can also be found on the bottom of the hub. Once you know this, you can change it to whatever you want, but you need to know it so that we can perform this. So first of all, you click on Advanced Settings. Now, there's a few settings in here, but what we're doing is port forwarding. So you click on the firewall, it's going to ask you for the password. So you need to type in the password, which I will do now. And I typed in the wrong one. Keep changing it now and then, so there's the password. Wonderful. So it's going to come up with the port forwarding. Now, this is relatively easy. All you need to do is click on Create a New Port Forwarding Rule. The rule name can be just Minecraft Server. And you select your computer, so in this case it's my gaming computer, so I'll just select on that one. Now, if you're wondering why there's lots of my gaming PC and they have separate IP addresses, I have two network cards for redundancy and reliability. Now, the external port for a Minecraft server, so that you just have to type in the IP, is 25565. So you need that to be at the start and at the end, so 25565. The protocol that you're going to follow under, first of all, is TCP. Set that and click the plus. Now you're going to want to do it again, so you just need to type the ports in again. This is what it converts to when it reaches your computer, which is 25565. And again, 25565. Wonderful. So then we're going with UDP, so you cover both aspects of the connection, and then just to make sure that we've got them all and it's not going to fail for any reason, we can go with the dual protocol and pop that in there as well. It might say it can't do it. Sometimes it lets you, which is strange. Once you've done that, just click on Save. It's going to save the changes and apply them to the firewall on the Home Hub as you save them. This can take a couple of seconds, but as you can see, it is done now. So that now makes my IP address accessible on that port, which is the port that Minecraft runs on. Now, what you may need to do if you still find that it's not accessible is you'll need to go to your Windows Firewall, and what you're going to need to do is head to Advanced Settings, and then Inbound Rules, New Rule, and Port, next TCP first, and 25565 on the port, next Allow, next, and call that Minecraft Inbound, finish, then New Rule, and again we're going with port UDP this time to cover both bases of the connection type, and again 25565, next, allow again, and we can call this one Minecraft Inbound 2, and finish. Now, outbound rules we want to go on to next, so New Rule, once again port TCP first, 25565, next, and it's going to select block automatically, so make sure you select allow, next, next, and this can be Minecraft outbound. And now we want to create another rule, and again it's the same situation. Port UDP 25565. Next, allow, next, and Minecraft outbound 2. Save. Now that's going to make sure that Minecraft is working through your firewall. If you find it's still not able to be connected to, you may need to restart the server first. If it's still not available after that, restart your computer so that the firewall changes take full effect. And if it's still not working out after that, I recommend running an elevated command prompt, navigating to the directory that your Minecraft server is in, and running it through an elevated command prompt. All else fails, leave a comment below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But once this is done, you now have port forwarding enabled. So what are we going to go into next? Because I said I'd go through some tips and tricks and tools. So next we're going to go to advanced settings, and we're going to start looking at getting the best reliable connection out of your broadband. Now most people nowadays are connected wirelessly and they have a lot of devices in and around the home. Now what you'll find is that with the wireless frequencies coming off of the Smart Hub, quite a lot of devices can drop out, and it will be consistent dropouts, and it won't just be one device, it will be many devices will experience the dropout in connections. Now this is because wireless channels become very I don't know what the term is, they become very busy, congested. Wireless channels become congested, and that's because there's so many devices running in the frequency range that the wireless channels run in. For example, a microwave it covers about 4 or 5 wireless channels. That's channel 1 through to 8, just some of them in there, not all of them because that's not 4. But the same with the 5 GHz network. Other things interfere. Even your phone, for example, if you're using data on your phone, you're connected to your service provider's network, that's going to cause some interference with the wireless channels. As you'd know, when you hold your phone up on a call to a microphone, it makes the weird beeping noise. So the best way to get the best out of your wireless on the BT Smart Hub is to first of all split the wireless. So to do this, you need to be in advanced settings, click on wireless, and it will come up here, separate bands. Now you want to turn that on. Once you turn it on, make sure wireless is enabled for both channels, and it's going to automatically select you some channels. Now it selects these on a smart basis. What that means is the hub will do a quick scan sort of around itself in its coverage band, and it will check to see what bands are most congested. It's only quick, but it works it out. Now you can rescan at any point and change the channels. The best thing to do, however, is not to use the scanner because it can only do so much. Rather, change the channels slowly at a time. So for example, I change to channel 2 and then save it, connect my mobile phone and a couple of other devices, walk around the house, see how I'm getting on with connection, see if it's being slower than usual, if it's dropping out more frequently or if it's dropping out less, and just find the right channel for you. Once you've done that, you may want to change your network name. Obviously you're able to do this. Now this doesn't change the network name of Ethernet connected devices, only wireless. Band steering is not recommended. Enable WPS, everybody wants to use that, and the wireless mode can be changed. So what this allows you to do is you can change it so that it's slower on the 2.4, but the 5G will stay sort of default apart from changing the channel. So what this allows you to do is if you don't want people using the 2.4 GHz network, you can, or you want them to only be able to do certain things, you can enable that in the wireless mode. Now that's the best way to optimize your wireless network. However, wireless networks perform differently depending on what's in your house, where you are physically in the world, where the hub's located. The best location for a BT Smart Hub is somewhere with no devices near it, so it's just sat on its own, sort of in a cupboard somewhere if possible. Well, actually not in a cupboard, just sat on its own on a shelf, on a wooden shelf, in the living room or in the kitchen, or just somewhere completely away from everything, even the phone if possible. Now, obviously wireless isn't fully recommended and it's not 100% stable. You're not going to see the speeds that your service is providing you through the wireless unless you're able to tap into the 5 gigahertz network, which is still a relatively new technology, and not many smartphones support it, albeit the most common phone is Samsung and Apple. The iPhone and the Samsung Galaxy devices all do support it. However, other devices that people might still have, such as the older Samsung phones, and some of the cheap smartphones that are available, won't have the 5G support. So the best way to get around that, obviously you can't do it with your phone, but you can do it with your computer, and computers also don't have support for 5G. But with your computer, what you can do is connect via Ethernet. Now, this can be a bit of a task depending on how far away your computer or your office is from the smart hub. Luckily, I just went out and bought a 20 meter Cat6 Ethernet cable. Now, why is it called a Cat6? So Ethernet cables have different measurements on depending how bonded they are and how protected they are from damage, depending on like how insulated the cable, the copper wiring is. So the most common Ethernet cable around is a Cat5 cable, and they're capable of high throughput over short to medium distances. And then there's the Cat6 cable, which is capable of high throughput from medium to long distances. Now, there's also a Cat7, which is capable of very fast throughput over shorter distances. Not entirely sure why. I might be wrong about some of this. This is what I'm recalling when I was doing my research. But yes, so I've got a single Cat6A Ethernet cable running from my smart hub into my bedroom, which is then connected to a 100 megabit per second unmanaged switch, which is then providing two Cat7 Ethernet cables, which head into the back of my computer via the onboard network interface card and an Intel 1 gigabit per second network card. The onboard RJ45 is also 1 gigabit. So that means I'm receiving 2 gigabits, theoretically. Well, actually no, I'm not, because it's controlled by the throughput of the switch, which is only 100 megabits. So technically my computer is receiving 200 megabits. Now, at the moment BT Infinity are only able to supply up to 74 to 76, in that range somewhere. But it does mean that I'm getting the most out of my broadband. So I'm going to run a speed test in a second, just to see how the network is performing. Now, speedtest.net, and enter. So now that we've got speedtest.net up, I'll just begin a test. It's going to choose a server in London, even though I'm based in Bristol, and I'll tell you the reason behind that once the test is completed. You can see the ping's higher than it really should be for BT Infinity, but the line is completely stable, and I can reflect this to yourselves again through a app that I've got called Glasswire. So you can see this is where we were sending downloads, but we're not anymore because we finished the test, and then the upload's now coming into play, and it's just building its way up very steadily, but it's staying relatively stable. So once that finishes, there we are. So I can minimize that now. So we got an upload of 17.98, so 18 megabits per second upload, and a download of 72.04, so 74 megabits download. So BT's upload speed, they don't clarify, but it's up to 20 meg. Well, 19 meg more specifically, and the download is obviously up to anywhere around 75, 76 mark. So we're doing quite well. Now, you may be wondering why my ping is so high. and why it's connected to me to London if I live in Bristol. The reason for this is because I'm on BT Business Infinity. So this is a business line with a static IP address and everything to make sure that I get the most out of the network. It also means that the traffic is prioritized and that I get better support if there was something to happen to the broadband, which with BT you kind of need. Yeah, we'll brush over that. So now these speeds, the best way to know what you are supposed to be getting right there and then when you've run this speed test is to head back to your hub, go to the advanced settings once again, and click on technical log. This is going to give you all the information about your BT Smart Hub, including the serial number, the firmware version, everything along those lines, including the uptime. So if you're experiencing dropouts, you can take screenshots of this and show BT, but I'll go into more detail again about that in a second. So this reading is wrong. It's not in kilobits per second. It's supposed to be in megabits. It's due to a glitch on the hub. I wouldn't worry about it too much. It doesn't matter. But as you can see here, so this is the upload and this is download. So right now my hub is apparently receiving at the exchange 19 megabits per second down and 76.84 megabits per second. 19 megabits per second up and 76.84 megabits per second down. Now the reason that's slowed down is because many things, such as the line that I'm using, the Ethernet cable, maybe it's getting a bit old now, just the way that the network is set up, the throughput of the hub itself, and the noise margins and the line attenuation. So what that essentially means is noise is incurred along copper because copper is stretched so far that it's subject to noise, which is just where the line is so long it starts to pick up interference, and as the line kind of degrades slightly from age, it's going to pick up different interference. Now you may be wondering, why am I on about copper when Infinity uses fiber? It's actually incorrect. Infinity doesn't use fiber. The only reason that BT are able to offer it as fiber is on the basis of a technicality. However, it's operating through VDSL. Now if you're wondering what that stands for, you see DSL everywhere, ADSL, ADSL2, ADSL2 plus, VDSL2. So the DSL part is digital subscriber line, so that essentially means consumer line. VDSL, well actually we'll go for ADSL first. ADSL is asymmetric digital subscriber line, so it just means that you can send and receive, and it's fast. And ADSL 2 is faster, and ADSL 2 plus is the fastest it can be, which is throttled somewhere at like 24 megabits per second down and 5 up, something like that, because the copper essentially just can't transmit the data any faster. It's being sent as fast as it can. With VDSL, it's very high bit rate digital subscriber line. So what that means is it's essentially ADSL 2 plus, but it's going faster than it can. So it's not physically supposed to be able to do that, and it doesn't really. What BT do is they have these very small modules called VDSL2 kits. They're provided by Cisco, and you see those green cabinets just down the road, and BT say, oh, is there a cabinet near you? Yeah, there is. Okay, wonderful, you can get Infinity. Great. So the reason that you have to have a cabinet is because the VDSL modules are in there, and they plug the modules in, they pull the line up from the ground, connect the modules to each line, and it's kind of like the line meets in the middle where it's connected to the module. And what the module does is it's able to boost the strength of the copper. I'm not entirely sure how the technology works. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how the technology works, but that's what it's based on. Possibly they're using bonded ADSL 2 plus. I wouldn't know, unfortunately, but I know that they have. What they've done as well is they do install fiber, small fiber ducts. So there'll be a fiber duct going from from the nearest exchange to the nearest cabinet, to the first cabinet away from the exchange. Just one small fiber duct, probably I don't know, a couple of 100 meters at most, which doesn't cost them very much. It's very cost saving, and this is why it's called FTTC. It's fiber to the cabinet. So they've just got a small chunk of fiber that goes from the exchange directly to one of the green cabinets, which is going to be very, very fast. If you live right outside that green cabinet, you're probably eligible for BT Infinity 3, which is just fiber, basically. It's essentially fiber to the premises, like what Virgin operate, just slightly different. But anyway, that's enough going on about VDSL. So yeah, you can use this to see how much you should be getting, what the noise is causing on your network, and some other things like that. And if you go offline, if you come into the event log, you can see why. That it show you the failures, what happened, so that you can go through with BT and diagnose what's going on. And in the meantime, I'm going to open up the broadband section. Now, the reason I've opened this is because of the broadband username and password. Now, BT used to do this all the time, but they don't do it as often anymore, even though it does show an improvement. So what you can do is you can change the broadband username. You can change that as long as it's at btinternet.com. The first section of that email address does not matter. It could be, well, apart from swear words, it has to be your name on the account. Before that, but I've tried it with other things and it's worked, but it's always best to go with your name. So for example, mine would be the.desrin@btinternet.com. Yours might be keith.lemon@btinternet.com. The password, nothing, just leave it blank. In order to do this, you have to click on disconnect. I'm not going to do that because it disconnect me. You click on disconnect, it's going to disconnect you from the broadband, and these options are going to become editable. At which point you edit this and you leave the password blank and click connect again. It's then going to save those settings and it connect back to the BT network. Now what that's going to do is first of all change your IP address. It will also change your default gateway and update your DNS. That just means that you've refreshed the line essentially. You've cleared everything that was on there previously and refreshed it yourself. Now you can do that once, but it means that you've changed the DNS permanently, but the gateway and the IP address will sort of stay the same. And you just change it to BT secondary DNS that isn't hammered so hard by everyone on the network. So yeah, that's just what's going on really. And it does optimize the network slightly. BT don't do that very often. Okay, so now mine's different, by the way, because I'm obviously on the business network, so it's going to be completely different, and the password's different as well. Well, I actually have to put a password in, but that's fine. Okay, so one other thing that I'd like to go through is issues with BT broadband. So specifically the Infinity service. So I had the standard ADSL2 Plus BT broadband service that was offering me download speeds up to 21 megabits per second. Very happy with that. That's fine, considering I was getting 7 last week. Well, last 5 months ago. It went from 7 5 months ago up to 21. Then it went from 21 up to 76 in the space of 5 months. So they've been quick about the upgrade. But right now I don't know whether to have wished that the ADSL2 Plus just stayed. Reason being is the VDSL network, for me anyway, keeps disconnecting. No idea why, but it keeps disconnecting. And it will keep changing the IP address because it's disconnected and reconnected again, and the BT hub has sent me a new IP. Which is really, really frustrating. I've been in contact with BT, they've had an engineer out, he's installed the VDSL2 filter box instead of me having to use a line filter. They've checked the line several times, blah 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 blah. So my last resort was to upgrade to BT Business, which was cheaper than the consumer line and gives me a static IP address that I can host websites and things from my home. Brilliant. No brainer. Well, I've still been experiencing the issues, so I've invested in a little app called Net Uptime Monitor. What this does is it monitors the network by sending ping requests every 5 seconds to your chosen servers. It comes with these three as standard. Now I would recommend you leave these as the standard ones on BT Fiber because they work very well. Your ping will probably be lower than mine because I got to connect to the business network. But what it does is it logs the failures on the network, and then it produces the logs, and you're able to go back and see if there was something wrong. So it will tell you that a fail has been started, how long the fail has lasted, and things along those lines. So I'll just show you what a log looks like from my end. So it's failure start, and a failure started at 15:32:16, and it lasted for 3 minutes 29 seconds. So, and then I've added my own custom note, which you can do by clicking view log and add note. And I've put previous failure was due to line refresh performed by BT as I called them to complain that I was experiencing broadband dropout issues. Any other dropouts after 15:32:16 are not caused by a line refresh, they are caused by a potential fault on the line that BT need to investigate. No other failures after that. I left it running for 27 hours 34 minutes, and you can see there was one total failure for 3 minutes and 29 seconds, which gives me a percentage downtime of 0.21%. Pretty good. But nevertheless, I'm still experiencing the dropouts. They seem to be once a week, so that's why I have this running 24 hours a day, so that I can find out when the dropout is and go to BT if I need to. BT are very stubborn when it comes to telling them that the service doesn't work. Now, it's quite frustrating from my point of view because I work in broadband myself. So I just want to get my point across and tell them that there's a problem, that they can investigate it and fix it. It's a very easy fix. All they need to do is this, this and this. Obviously I don't actually know what the problem is with the line because I'm not allowed to go up the line, but I've checked my internal network. My internal network is fine. I've replaced the home hub, the smart hub, with another smart hub, brand new, that BT actually sent me. So there's nothing wrong with the internal network. I've been on the BT forums and they suspect it was the smart hub, but this one seems to be okay. So if this fails, then I'm getting, well, I got the BT business smart hub coming in the next couple of days that I can just stick on the network and see if I experience the same issues. If I don't, then we know that it was the smart hubs. But it's very strange that two of the same, essentially the same hub, are experiencing essentially the same issues. Yeah, so that was a bit of a rant about BT, but I hope you found this video useful. We did go through setting up some port forwarding and some other tips and tricks on your network. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you found this very useful. And if you've got any questions with regards to BT or other forms of internet and broadband that you might have, possibly satellite broadband, because that's where I work, then just let me know and I'll see if I can get back to you, answer all your questions. Yeah, so thanks guys, thanks for watching, and I hope I see you in the next video. Cheers.